Let's talk about field experiences. So, one of the requirements of the child development program at Western is that students must complete field experiences for pretty much every class except for the child development professional 1103, which you have either already taken or are taking right now. So the purpose of the field experiences is either if you're not working already in a childcare facility, as I know most of you are, but some students aren't, and this is an opportunity to make sure that you like it for one thing, and then it's an opportunity for all of you just to ensure that you're getting ample time with children and some dedicated time. I ask usually that the time that you log be time that in some way relates to what's going on in the class. So it just kind of helps make sure that that's happening. And so let's talk about this page. This page, first of all, is that this first paragraph is about the facility agreement that you signed in 1103. And if nothing has changed, that agreement is still good. I should have a copy of it, and there should be a copy in your child development professional portfolio. So that's good if nothing has changed. If you have changed either workplaces or volunteer centers, if you're volunteering instead of working full time, then I need to have that updated. So you will need to ask me for a new one that I will message to you, and then you'll need to have it filled out by your supervisor and director and yourself, and then email it to me and put it in your portfolio also. Leave the old one there. Just make sure they're both there. So that's what that first paragraph is about. Then your field hours log for this class is right here. Your field experience hours log, sorry. And you'll notice that it requires you to work with two different age groups of children, not all the time. So you're required to have 16 hours for this class. So that's basically 1 hour per week is all that you have to have. And 4 of those hours do have to be with a secondary age group. And by secondary, I mean different than the one that you normally work with. So if you normally work with 3 and 4 year olds, you might spend some time with the infants. Or if you normally work with toddlers, you might spend some time with the 4 year olds. It does need to be a different group. Well, as you'll see in this class, we have everything pretty much broken down into infant and toddler and early childhood, and then there's middle childhood and adolescence. We're not going to get into adolescence, but you could work with middle childhood starting at about the 6 year olds if you wanted to. But we've got, like I said, infant and toddler or preschool, early childhood. So as we get into that more, you'll learn more about the specifications of it, and you'll need to approve that there's enough age difference in the two different groups of children that you're working with. So just keep that in mind. Don't go ahead and jump yet because you're going to want further instruction on your secondary age group, because this class is going to require you to do some very specific observations. So you don't want to start with that secondary age group for sure yet, because you'll want to count when you're doing those observations as the secondary age group. And you could even maybe hold off on some of these. But if you're wanting to do 1 hour per week, then go ahead and get started. But notice you're going to print your name here, your signature, and then the city, state, the name, city and state of facility where you're conducting your field work, which I realize is on your field experience form, but we're going to put it here anyway. Your supervisor's name and phone number. And then you've got places to log hours. You can log 30-minute increments. You can log 2 hour increments. What I do not want you to do, please, is put 2 8 hour days that you were at work all day. That's just not what we're looking for. I'd rather you be more in tune with what's going on in this class and describe something you did for 30 minutes or 1 hour that somehow pertained to something that you're learning in this class. So just a brief description. You don't have to go into detail. Just say, this was while we were doing centers, and I don't know. but anyway, it doesn't have to be long, just a little something that was going on at the time. And then your supervisor needs to sign each day that you fill it out. Okay, so that is the log. And we'll talk a little bit more about what's on here. Notice I have, you should print it and fill it in by hand. Please don't go in and type it. It needs signatures on it anyway. Just print it off, handwrite it each time that you do logs. And then when it's time to turn it in, scan it and submit it as a PDF. Only hours spent working with children in a classroom may be logged. For example, candidates who are directors can only log hours when they're working directly with children, not time spent doing administrative work. The degree candidates who work in the kitchen, for example, need to spend time out of the kitchen and in a classroom. Or sometimes I've had bus drivers take the class. It needs to be time that you're really with kids. I already covered this. Please don't just log, I went to work for 4 hours today, or I went to work for 8 hours today. Try to be more dedicated than that. You can and should include time spent working with children or families for purposes of your key assessment. Now, I don't mean when you're writing your key assessment, but when you're actually doing things in the classroom for your key assessment, that's fine. Please expect that you're going to have random, that I will call or hopefully maybe even see your supervisor and confirm these. It's not in any way because I don't trust most of you. I know that most of you are very trustworthy, but occasionally we have that one that makes it more difficult for the rest. So that will be the case sometimes. So just expect that I might be checking in that where my plan is to check in on everyone in that way. And then in the final week of class, there will be a place for you to submit your field hours log. So you need to download this from here right now and print it off so that you have it and can start logging some hours with your main group of kids, age group of kids. And then, like I said, probably don't start doing your secondary yet because there will be specific things you need to do with them. So I hope I answered all questions about that. Please let me know if you do have any questions.